Hey folks, welcome back to another episode of Divine Independence. Notice my voice is not up to par today. Been dealing with the cold for about a week now. So you'll have to excuse me for the raspiness and the frequent clearing of the throat. That being said, got a lot to dig into with you here. So try and keep this shorter because I know folks don't want to sit around and listen to me jabber too much. But we did have a big vote recently at the last meeting on the 21st September for the new budget. Everybody voted yes. Well, not everybody. We had 3 people vote yes, 2 people vote no. That was District 1, Rufino, Flipprr, Vega, and District 5, Debbie Randall. So big thanks to those folks for at least taking a stand for this budget just doesn't make sense. Everybody else just went along with it because, well, we can't shut down the government. Can we? We might need to because you can't just keep raising the budget when you don't know where the money's going. And it's something we had to do with the VFW recently as well, was implement QuickBooks because nobody knows where the freaking money's going. Well, yeah, we're making money. How much? Well, we got this much here, this much there. So you can't add those, or because you're just ballparking. Turns out you're just ballparking. And that's the same thing with the city budget. None of them are really 100% sure where all the money's going, which is really, really frustrating, especially for someone who pays taxes. So, what are you going to do other than show up, keep letting them know what you think? And I'm not one for shouting at people or threatening lives like Scott up there and the folks around District 5 there over the golf course thing. I mean, I know it's just a hot topic, but I'll tell you, when you've got houses this dilapidated, when the streets look this bad, you can't afford sidewalks, and you're putting any kind of money into something for funsies just like the golf course, that remains a thorn in my side. Now, next thing on the list here. Can't afford $60,000 to put up an infrastructure for a developer. Now, guys, he just bought some land behind Tractor Supply. He's looking to build some houses. He's asking for $60,000 to help put in water, sewer, electric, that sort of stuff. And I would understand if there was a well-managed budget and we said, well, we're just putting way too much into roads this year. We just can't help you. Next year we can, but this year we actually have a real budget that we follow, which wouldn't that be beautiful? And we're putting a whole bunch into roads. We're putting a whole bunch into some sort of infrastructure, maybe sidewalks, maybe handicap accessibility, literally anything that makes sense. Instead of just, we don't really know what's happening, so since we can't manage our budget, we can't help you. And or on the other side there, if we said nobody gets money, period, that also makes sense. A lot of things here where it would make sense, but instead it's just, sorry, we're basically just alcoholics and we can't manage a budget, so can't help you. Well, I'll tell you where a lot of this money's going is to city employees. We now have a full-time employee for Parks and Rec. We have one single freaking park. How much work does that thing really need done that we need a full-time employee to mow the grass? Yep, no, you're just pissing money down the drain because your cousin needed a job. That's what we're looking at. And now we did get a tax rate increase. I'm going to share my screen with you here. This is the cover for the budget, which is super frustrating that you can't see the budget until I pass it because they're looking for inputs. City council is looking for inputs on, hey, how can we cut? What can we cut? They're looking for, just ideas. Let me go ahead and share this over with you. This right here is our budget. It does not make any freaking sense whatsoever. Yet, here we are. We've now increased property taxes to pay for a budget that, again, we still don't really know where everything goes. Someone please help me understand this because I don't freaking get it. See right here, we got an extra $5,000 in taxes. No, and everyone knows that's bullshit because the end of this year, there's going to be a reassessment by the county, and they know there's going to be a huge increase in taxes. 8% increase. I almost bet you that's going to be double. You're probably looking at 15, 16%. And right here's the meeting minutes, though. Debbie Randall and Vega, Rufino, Vega, Flipprr, they voted against it. Everyone else, including Angela, which I expected better of her. Kathy tends to go along and get along. I get it. She doesn't want to rock the boat. Espinoza, I've not seen a guy say anything except okay and just go along with everything. He does ask some questions on occasion, but it's like I don't get it. I really expected better out of Angela, though. She's a rabble rouser for sure. And for starting all the heat she always starts, I expected her to vote no on such an irresponsible budget, but didn't. And then as soon as they voted in that budget, there was another item for a grant from the federal government for up to $100,000, 50-50 split on any work we do in the airport. I asked a question. How long do we have to maintain the airport then by accepting this money? 20 years. We have to keep it open for 20 years to accept this money. So we want to guarantee the debt that is the airport for another 20 years for $100,000, maybe, that we've only allotted $50,000 for repairs. So basically $25,000 we're going to guarantee this airport debt for another 20 years. I don't get it. And there was a little bit of talk, and at the end, maybe 2 or 3 minutes later, after some debate, they pass it. It is so frustrating. If you can actually lay out a plan to why it makes sense, then sure. But the only rationale was, well, we've done it every year. So that doesn't mean just because you've done drugs every day for the last 20 years doesn't mean you should continue doing drugs. You should probably stop because it doesn't make sense. Super freaking frustrating. And you know what? That frustrates me a little bit, but it's the lack of participation by the community that really frustrates me a lot. No one's coming out. And I'm talking to you, if you folks are in Devine not coming out. You need to be out there. You need to state your feelings. You need to let them feel a little bit of that heat of, hey, stop pissing away my property tax money. It's not okay. Anywho, on to the next one here. So, yes, we did get a tax rate increase by up to 5.298% or cents per $100 of property value. Again, we're going to see property values increase significantly this year because of the housing shortage. Those prices are going to drive. Even if you have a total dump of a house, you're going to see your property value go up, and pretty considerably. I'm confident of it. There's also a big push for code compliance. That's going to be the focus of today's show. So there are a lot of folks, some in the community, some out of the community. I'm for both in and out of the community. Folks out of the community, I say, not really your place, but calm down a little bit. I hear it. And they have noble goals. That is, improve Devine, make it nice, make it clean again, make people want to be here because they have businesses. They want to see it nicer. They want to see their businesses thrive because it's nicer. I also want to see it be nicer. But you're looking at $2,000 per infraction per day. No one's handing out fines at that rate. You reduce that to like $50 and then maybe slowly increase it over a month because let's face it, if you give me a fine, I might not get around to opening the mail for a day or two. And then I also have a job because most people have jobs. And then how quickly can you really get around to remediating that? So let's be realistic with people. It's not to say I'm okay with the person behind me, the old CPA there over in Leibold. It's not to say I'm okay with the literal dump they've got behind their house. Probably 40 plus toilets, literal garbage everywhere. It's not to say I'm okay with that, but let's give them some time to clean it up before we just take a house. There's a lot of people just broke as a joke around here. Instead, why don't you, instead of paying, the door there, the city secretary, over $100K a year from what I understand, reduce her pay a little bit and let's put maybe 30, 40,000 out of that into actually remediating some of these houses that are just in complete disrepair. You could do a lot to improve the community. I'm not saying fire these people. I'm just saying cut their salary down comparable to what people make in this area, which is honestly less than $50,000 a year. But hey, it's the government, so maybe we'll give you a little extra cheddar, but you also get an amazing retirement. We don't pay teachers that much, so they have to deal with shitty kids all day, mine included, because, man, she is a monster. Well, I don't know. She's a tough one to deal with. Great, wonderful kid, but, man, she is tough to deal with. So if the teacher doesn't make that much, why is the city secretary making that much? And that's a core problem here. We're paying our employees way too much. Not all of them, but, and again, it's not to say fire them. We need to cut some positions for sure. We don't need someone to mow the lawn around the park. But hey, if you're making double, triple what the average citizen in this town's making, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. We need to cut that back a little bit. And it's just being honest. It's having the ability to look someone in the face. Hey, I value you. I value your service here. However, we can't afford to pay you this much. Our roads are in complete and total disrepair. It doesn't make sense. And those are the sorts of conversations you have to have. And I'll tell you, if you can't look someone in the eye and have that conversation, either you're the wrong person for the job or you're doing something wrong. Maybe both. Anyway, that's frustrating, but there's a big push for all this code enforcement, and some of the code's just stupid. And so the first one I want to point out for you here is the sports signs. Everyone has the maybe 2x3 or 3x2, yeah, 3x2. Either way, the sports signs, the pictures of their kids and grandkids in their sports uniforms in their front yards. Well, that's $2,000 fine for you because ordinance number 11-99-2 on the sign ordinance, and you can find this on citydevine.org. If it's over 1 square foot or a political sign more than 45 days prior to the election, you are in violation, period. You can have a single square foot sign that is flat attached to your home with your family name. That's all. What is this, freaking Mayberry in 1950? Pretty much. You will comply with the HOA or else. And then 5-173, you need a permit, or that needs to permit small conservative signs. It's unlit signage as well, so you can't have any lights on it. And that's just to be in accordance with current social norms in the town. So basically, we just need to allow a whole lot more stuff. That's all I'm trying to say there. And I think just if we make it a little more vague to just say small, conservative, unlit sign. We know it has a bright, blinking neon sign in their front yard, but it's something a little more conservative. And it allows folks to have normal signs, like Devine avocados. I bet that was there prior to this code, but still, if someone's put up something like that in their yard, what's it hurting? Who gives a crap? That's just more of government getting more involved in folks' business that they shouldn't be in. Now, I haven't got through all the code because it took, for some reason, I have to continue asking John for more and more code. He says, yeah, here. He'll give me just a little bit at a time. And so I have to know exactly what code to ask for to get more code. It's really quite frustrating, but I'm getting there slowly but surely. And it's not to crap on John. I suspect he's probably just really busy. The guy seems really ethical, but I'm really frustrated when I said, give me a copy of all the code, and I get two documents. I say, okay, well, I want this and that code, or I want the animal code specifically, and I get 2 more documents. Well, can't you just send me all the code and ordinances at once? Do I have to keep asking for more because I finally figure out that this isn't all of it? I mean, it's stuff like that. It's just frustrating. Again, I don't mean to crap on him. I think he's a good person, really trying to be ethical, but it's frustrating. Now, next one here, subdivision ordinance, page 12. Then that completely inhibits the sort of growth the city needs. And so everyone keeps talking about revitalize Devine. Let's grow Devine. Let's make Devine nicer. Let's do all this stuff. Well, you can't. Because starting on page 12 there, it inhibits that sort of growth by making it difficult for house construction. And we're still discouraging animals. I don't know of anyone in my age group, younger, I don't know of anyone even 10, 15 years older than me that is moving out here and isn't interested in animals in some way, shape, or form. So there's one person I know of who moved out here. They're in a small tract home that Corey built. Nice little house. They don't have animals. However, the 3-4 other people I know that have moved out here within the past year, every single one of them has animals. Every single one of them is hiding their animals because they don't want the city coming by, the department making them sad, giving them a citation, telling them they have to get rid of their animals. That's garbage. That you shouldn't have to hide from this kind of crap. And granted, I really put it out there. I put my sheep in my front yard. I pissed a lot of people off. I had Debbie Randall taking pictures. I had the cops out here. I got letters in the mail. I got all kinds of stuff just because it pissed them off. They said, don't you dare buck the system. Well, here I am bucking the system, and then they had to come by and try to put all the weight behind them, but it turns out I'm in accordance with the law because I've got 12 acres. Granted, I'm still not allowed to have more than 10 domestic fowl. That means chickens, ducks, turkeys, whatever. 10 on 12 acres. That makes a lot of sense. No, it doesn't at all. So if I'm going to go into full-time farming and sell pastured chickens, pastured turkeys, pastured ducks, can't. Not allowed because it's more than 10 for 12. That's less than a bird per acre. Last I checked, birds don't exactly need an acre. In fact, I actually have the science based on university studies to show how much they need, but that'll be part of the bigger overhaul that is coming. Next one I got here. Remove the minimum lot size requirements. I'm still looking for the actual code. The way I understand that it's 5,000 square feet. Just get rid of it. Just maintain the actual setbacks. On a main arterial road, you need 35 feet from the front of your house. On a side road, you need 30 feet. From the back of your house, you need 15 feet. From each side, you need a minimum of 5 feet on each side, or 10 feet in total. So if it was maybe grandfathered in, you're a little close to the property line, it just has to be a total of 10 feet. or a minimum of 10 feet. You can have more. And the goal here isn't to have houses side by side. It's just to say, let's give you more flexibility. And one, for instance, here is you want to be a little bit closer to the road, maybe closer to your property line, so you can have a bigger side yard and backyard. Most of us don't do anything in our front yard because we don't really want to have to wave at everyone or talk to anybody that walks by while we're cooking out. We want to drink some beers, hang out with our friends, and do it in privacy because it's our yard. So for that reason, my mind instantly goes to, how can I create the maximum amount of like livable, usable, nice space for me, my family, my friends that's not exposed to the road? I don't want to hear the truck flying by at 65 mile per hour down Windy Knoll because all these a-hole teenagers and inbreds have to fly by here as fast as they possibly can. Don't want to hear that noise. I want to be in the backyard. So I don't want a gigantic front yard just to put on display like Mayberry. Again, this stuff doesn't make sense, but we need to allow that kind of creativity for folks to just put their house wherever they want. Now, I do think there's some reasonable requirements there as far as duplexes, 2.5 story being the maximum amount you can go. I think 40 feet is the highest. That makes sense. We don't want a high rise. It wouldn't make sense to build one here, but when someone abandons it, we don't have a giant building that's a safety hazard. I mean, abandoning things seems to kind of be the go-to around here. There's a ton of abandoned houses. I don't understand why nobody sells them. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, next one here. Let's see. Remove, oh no, covered that one. Allow more narrow one-way streets to enable development of some oddly shaped properties. And so around me, there's a lot of just long, narrow properties. No one's going to build no one's going to develop that land because you have to you need a 50-foot right-of-way for road. 50 feet. And you're looking at maybe 150 feet from side to side on that property. So you have to acquire multiple properties to put a road down the middle of them. And okay, at that point, it's becoming prohibitive because now I can only get one lot and I have to build a full 2-lane road. The neighbor's they're not shipping it out, but they're sure as heck going to use that roadway. Now, let's say we want to enable some one-way streets. We can make a whole lot more lots fully developable. Cut that in half, 25 feet. You're doing a lot, but even 30 feet. That leaves you enough space to get lots on both sides of the road. Still get that one-way street, though, and you can really enable a lot more growth here in Devine. Moving on here. Good luck with the rest. I don't necessarily have good answers. The city just does not have much posted online. As stated, I'm trying my best to get more of it, but it is like pulling teeth here. It's just really difficult. So if you find more, please share it. As I find more, I'll share it. I did get the animal code. I just haven't had a chance to dig into it yet. I'm finally finishing up some trim work in the back bedroom there, and that's almost fully livable now. It was just, it was nothing major. It was just new drywall and some paint and some flooring and trim and, parenting and full-time job and stuff just didn't allow the time. But anyway, folks, that's all I got for today. Go ahead, reach out. Check me out on Float, Josh R. Check me out on Odyssey. And that's all I got, folks. Take it easy.